Hey gang, John Bacarella here with the Lake St. Clair Fishing Report, brought to you by Sportsman's Direct. It is Thursday, May 26th, and we're back on a Thursday schedule, at least for right now, which I know helps a lot of you guys out for planning for the weekend, especially for a long weekend that we got coming up. Right now, the weather out there, it is raining and windy and nasty, and it's been like that on and off all week. So if you were able to get out this week, that was probably a blessing in between all this crazy weather that we've had. But it looks like once we get through tomorrow, and tomorrow's not supposed to be windy. We're actually supposed to have light winds tomorrow, but we're supposed to have some rain. So if you can handle the rain, tomorrow will be a decent day to get out. And then Saturday is just supposed to be gorgeous. And then at least the first half of Sunday before that south wind kicks in and blows up that upper 80s and 90-degree weather that we got coming in for the early part of next week. So if you like warm weather, you got a great weekend coming up, at least the second half of the weekend. If you want the best fishing weather, this Saturday is probably going to be what looks like according to the weatherman. And I always have to, put that in quotes because that's what they're forecasting. So it looks like light winds and partly cloudy conditions for all you guys chasing smallmouth and walleyes out there on Saturday. So it looks like Saturday is going to be the pick day for the weekend. So fishing-wise, water temperature down at Belle Isle, and I always use that as a barometer of the overall lake temp. Water temperature at Belle Isle was like 59 to 60-ish all day today. So it's only gone up a couple of degrees from where she was, and that just, all of it, that relatively cold spring is still keeping all these fish in spawn mode. So getting still a lot of reports of smallies that are like big smallies that are staging to come in at like 8, 9, 10, 11 feet of water. And this warm snap is going to bring probably most of those fish in. Or some of those fish are just going to stay out and spawn a little bit deeper because they don't all go into that, 4, 5, and 6 foot water, guys. I mean, a lot of these fish spawn out deeper, and that's one of the reasons why I believe our populations on the lake, even with all the pressure, is able to sustain that pressure, because those fish that are spawning out deeper just don't get harassed nearly as much as those fish that go in tight. So it's all going to be really about water clarity going into this weekend. For the walleye guys, like up on the river, you're going to be, well, no matter where you are, you're going to be trying to find the right water clarity to maximize your fishing opportunities, right? So I know a lot of you smallmouth guys like that real clear water, and you may have to work a little bit for it going into this weekend because of all this wind and the rain that we've had. So the shallows could be turned up. So they will clear up pretty quick with the water as warm as it is now, and getting, once it hits 60 in the mid 60s, the filtration from the zebra mussels and the quagga mussels start to increase, and the sediment lays down a little bit quicker with the water density and all that stuff. But anyways, so I guess the point is you're just going to have to find the right water clarity, whether you're fishing for smallies or chasing walleyes. But for the walleye guys, the near shore water ought to have plenty of color in it, and you should be able to find fish in really tight. We had earlier this week, we had guys in from out of town, and it was a north wind, miserable kind of blow day, and we sent those guys over to fish like in the lee of the point there at Metro. And not only did they catch smallies, but they caught a pile of walleyes, and some really big walleyes, throwing Ned rigs and swim baits and stuff. So the walleyes are there. So if you guys are going out there and you're not catching them, it's not that they're not there, you're just not finding them. And maybe you're just not fishing in tight enough to go into where these guys were casting for these spawning smallies. And they were some nice fish. I mean, 24, 25, 26-inch walleyes. So not only did they go home with a lot of memories from catching all these smallmouths, but they went home with some freezer bags full of really nice walleye fillets, which I know for a lot of the guys down south is a real treat, because we're spoiled up here with all the perch and walleye that we catch. St. Clair River's going strong. The guys casting from shore are catching plenty of fish. The guys in the boats are catching fish. It's a matter of whether you want to jig for them or whether you want to bounce crawler harnesses for them. I know I've said this before, if the jig bite's not working, put them crawler harnesses down. A lot of guys have asked, how do I fish the crawler harnesses up there? 3 to 4 ounce bottom bouncers on average, typical what most guys use up there. And then set your trolling speed for those bottom bouncers. Start out setting that trolling speed just trolling downstream fast enough so that the blades turn. And then if you start to get tangles and stuff, that's a sure indicator that you're not going fast enough. So generally, if anything, you have to bump that speed up a little bit more, because that water down deep is usually flowing just a little bit faster than what you got up at the top. But anyways, that's that's been my experience up there anyways, is sometimes you got to bump it up a little bit from that point up top with that blade spin. And then sometimes too, going down to a little smaller blade like a number 3 or an Indiana blade sometimes helps up there as well too. Whippers are catching fish. I mean, everybody's catching walleye up there on the St. Clair River right now. So that bite is going strong. The Detroit River is still going strong down there for walleyes. However, you're going to start to see a lot of guys moving up into the lake. They don't want to mess with a lot of the silver bass that become a nuisance fish, although I'm not hearing like crazy reports that the silvers are driving everybody nuts down there. But this is that time of the year, especially going into Memorial Weekend historically, is when that white bass or silver bass run gets going really super strong. And for some people, that's their thing. They look forward to that all year long. And I like catching white bass. It's a lot of fun, especially taking the kids out to catch them, because it's just, they fight so hard, and generally they're pretty easy to catch. So that's something I generally look forward to every year, is that white bass run. You're going to start to notice that a lot of these guides down there on the river, for some people, like I know Jason Quintano posted this week that this was his last weekend for the walleye fishing down there, because these guys, a lot of these charters and guides are muskie fishermen, so they're going to start getting ready to go into the muskie opener, which is coming up really quick. Same thing with some of the guys, they go from walleye and they switch over to go into all smallies here pretty soon. So you're going to start to see a lot less of the posting from the charter captains down there. But you do still have some charter captains out on the lake that are, I'll call them like, they're more opportunistic charters, or they're more versatile multi-species charters, and they do that all year long. Garrett Samsel is one of those guys, and he generally fishes up there on the north end. He chases smallies and muskies and walleyes, and apparently even some panfish. I saw some posts this week with the big pumpkin seeds, which is another thing that is going on this time of the year, is these pumpkin seeds are coming in to spawn as well. I like to fish for them in areas where you got new weeds coming up. One of the things they really like to eat is they like to eat snails. And so a lot of times, if you can find areas that have got a lot of snails, you're going to find tons of pumpkin seeds. And a lot of times up on that north end of the lake, in and around Selfridge, and sometimes right in that Selfridge Canal, is just phenomenal by the boat launch there at Selfridge for pumpkin seeds. That whole bay that is just loaded with seeds. And when you get into those big pumpkin seeds, they are just a blast. You can catch them a multitude of different ways. You can catch them with just regular worms. You can catch them with small plastics like panfish assassins, small grubs, beetle spins, little tiny crankbaits. There's spinners like MEP spinners. There's tons of ways to catch those big pumpkin seeds when they come in, and they are a blast, and they're great to eat as well. Crappie fishing is also going. Those crappies are spawning. I've said this before, in the shallows, in the backwaters. We're seeing, kind of on and off reports of the guys that target the crappies doing really well, because there's not that many guys up on this end of the lake that target them. Largemouth bass are spawning now in the backwaters. Water temperatures up plenty high, starting to see pictures of guys trying to identify what species of fish they are on beds, and in a lot of cases they're largemouths. So that's one of those things that is an underfished resource up here, is the largemouth fishing. Usually they're a lot of times it's just our guys from out of town that are in, like on these blow days that we had this week, that go in and just spank these largemouths in these canals, and they're just amazed at how many fish there are in the 3 to 4 pound class. But there are a lot of them, and they're pretty easy to catch because they don't get pressured very much. So, and as more boats go in this weekend, there's going to be probably a lot more boats going into the water. All those opportunities of flipping docks and stuff in the canals will start to go away as more boats go in, and the fishing opportunities in the canal start to go down. So white bass have started to show up on the point. It's kind of been on and off, but I guess when they're on, it's been really good. There's been some pretty big white bass caught already this year. So again, for you guys that like to chase those silver bass or white bass, they are showing up now in the lake on the points. And one of the ways to watch for those fish is to watch where the birds are, seagulls wise. Although I haven't heard of them blowing up on the surface a lot right now. It seems like those are spawners, and they're down low. And when you're getting follows, you're getting multiple fish following at a time, especially in these rocky areas like out there on the point at Metro. So let's see what else. I know some guys called this week and said I didn't say enough about smallmouths. Last week in my report, guys, the smallies are all over the shoreline right now. I mean, you just have to move around till you find them, whether you're up here in the mile roads or you're all the way down there by the Detroit River, or up on that north end of the lake now that's finally warming up pretty good. So the smallie fishing up there is picking up, and it's just going to get better. It's going to be a little bit behind generally what's down on the south end of the lake. So the way I play it is I play it by the wind, okay? Pick your poison based on the wind direction. You know, if you want to get, these fish are going to be in shallow, so try to pick the lee of the shoreline. Try to pick whatever part of the lake is going to have an offshore wind. If you got a strong south wind, then fish that area to the north of the Harley Ensign launch and up along that shoreline, going in towards Selfridge. If you got a west wind, you can pretty much fish anywhere you want. If you got a north wind, like we sent those guys earlier this week, fish in that lee of the lee of the shoreline there by the Metro Park. You know, fish the wind direction when we get a strong blow. When you got light winds, you can fish wherever the heck you want without any trouble. So, you know, it's really that simple. When you get an east wind, you're kind of stuck. You got to deal with what you got unless you want to make that run over to Muscatmoot, and I guess that bite's still going on over there as well. So, I think that's all I've got for the fishing report this week. We do have a lot of musky stuff that just started to come in. Chaos rods. I got some Daiwa reels in. The musky plastics have started to show up. Some of the cranks are showing up. You know, all that good stuff for you guys chasing muskies. Other than that, it's a lot of walleye fishing going to really start to happen out there on the lake. So have a great Memorial weekend, and we'll see you in at the store this weekend. Hey, if you like this video content and you want to get updated as soon as the next video is out there, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon, and you'll get notified as soon as the next video is up.